38-year-old Sabrina Navarro called her optometrist in late January to make an appointment for the youngest of her 4 daughters. The 11-year-old's glasses were broken. The receptionist told Navarro that they were no longer accepting government insurance, even from long-time patients. The excessive cost of eyewear has forced many optometrists to choose between providing much-needed care to low-income patients and keeping their businesses afloat. This leaves patients like Navarro and her children struggling to find care in a market that's inundated with demand and inflated in price. The reason these issues have become more and more prevalent is the domination of the eyewear market by a company known as EssilorLuxottica. This control over the industry allows them to engage in monopolistic practices and anti-competitive behavior, further raising the cost of eyewear for the consumer. According to a March 1st, 2023 Washington Post article, 2/3 of American adults wear some kind of glasses or contacts. The growing number of people needing corrective lenses should allow for the market to diversify to meet the needs of the people. However, EssilorLuxottica's hold over the industry has instead allowed them to go the pharma bro path, taking advantage of those who need this medical necessity. Therefore, it is essential that we address the causes, effects, and solutions to the monopolistic practices of EssilorLuxottica. Before we can address the effects, we first need to understand who EssilorLuxottica is. According to the EssilorLuxottica official website, last accessed January 20th, 2024, the company is the product of the 2017 merger between French prescription lens manufacturer Essilor and Italian eyewear manufacturer and distributor Luxottica. Even before the merger, Essilor was the largest manufacturer of prescription lenses in the world. Luxottica, on the other hand, was a bit more diversified in the eyewear market, owning exclusive rights to a large number of famous frame and sunglass brands, such as Prada, Chanel, Ray-Ban, and dozens more. Additionally, they own retail and optometrist locations, such as LensCrafters, Target Optical, Sunglass Hut, and Pearl Vision. This variety in names is done precisely to give consumers the illusion of choice. Luxottica also owns the second largest vision insurance company, EyeMed, which according to a 2020 LinkedIn article by Alex Paul, only applies to products owned or licensed by Luxottica. This control over the insurance sneakily allows the company to artificially inflate prices under the guise of lowering rates. All of this together makes EssilorLuxottica what is known as a vertically integrated corporation, meaning they own every aspect of the product, from manufacturing to distribution, minimizing production costs, maximizing profits. In fact, according to a June 2019 LA Times article, Charles Dahan, the man responsible for modern corrective lenses, states, "There's no competition in the industry, not anymore. Luxottica owns everyone. They set prices wherever they please, with markups approaching 1,000%. Since the merger, EssilorLuxottica became the world's largest eyewear powerhouse." Now that we have an understanding of who EssilorLuxottica is, what is the effect on consumers? For the vast majority of people who wear prescription lenses, they'll get them from either their optometrist or through a retail location. While online stores like Warby Parker do exist and offer fair competition to the corporate giant, being able to physically try on a pair of glasses to make sure they look good and are adjusted to fit your face right is something that online stores will never be able to fully compete against. Meaning, even for those who are aware of EssilorLuxottica, feel they can do little against it. Now that consumers are funneled into the EssilorLuxottica retail stores, they're subject to the corporation's demands. Since the merger, Luxottica has access to all of Essilor's prescription lenses, meaning that in addition to upcharging for frames, they can also sell lens add-ons such as blue light filters and glare reduction at an inflated price. All of this together makes EssilorLuxottica a completely isolated ecosystem, devoid of any competition. According to a February 2021 Financial article, EssilorLuxottica's retail stores rarely let third-party brands into their stores. When they do, it's usually only to acquire them in the long run. The most famous example of this is the 2007 acquisition of Oakley by Luxottica. According to a June 2007 Forbes article, almost all Oakley products were sold at Sunglass Hut, owned by Luxottica. The company wanted to buy Oakley, the sports sunglass brand, but they initially refused. Luxottica responded by pulling all Oakley products from their retail stores, essentially suffocating the brand. Oakley eventually caved in and sold itself to Luxottica. Since EssilorLuxottica owns almost every major brand of frames and sells them at inflated prices, they create the illusion that glasses are just expensive. This normalization of overcharging forms the backbone of EssilorLuxottica's business models towards its consumers, leaving those who can't afford to pay the price to be tossed to the wayside. For instance, in March of 2022, Christy Owen explains in her blog how at a young age she was diagnosed with progressive high myopia, a degenerative disorder characterized by rapidly deteriorating vision, eventually leading to total loss of sight. To continue to function as an individual, she needs increasingly stronger prescription lenses every year. She states, "All in all, my vision care costs about $700 a year on the low end if I was replacing both my glasses and contacts as often as I should be. Since I can't afford that, I really only replace them about every 6 to 10 years. Because of this, everyday tasks and activities such as reading, driving, or going to the movies, it causes intense headaches and nausea." Now that we have an understanding of the effects of EssilorLuxottica's business practices, let's approach some solutions. While not technically a monopoly, EssilorLuxottica regularly engages in monopolistic practices such as strong-arming smaller businesses and price gouging. Luckily for us, there's already a system put in place to address these issues: antitrust laws. According to the U.S. Department of Justice Antitrust Division, last access January 20th, 2024, the Sherman Act of 1890 prohibits the creation of monopolies and the use of anti-competitive practices. This idea is enforced through the creation of the Federal Trade Commission, or FTC, which gave agency to the Sherman Act to actively keep the market fair. Unfortunately, these laws have not been effectively enforced in the eyewear industry. Encouraging the FTC to evaluate EssilorLuxottica as an anti-competitive business would be a drastic step in the right direction. If not the company as a whole, then at least Essilor's ownership of the lens market. The only way for us as individuals to make an impact would be to contact our legislative representatives who encourage movement within the FTC. The other solution is to stop buying products owned by EssilorLuxottica. While avoiding Essilor's lenses is nigh on impossible, consumers should still be encouraged to look for brands not owned by the corporate powerhouse. Luckily for us, EssilorLuxottica proudly displays every brand they own and license on their official website, which gives us a good idea which ones to avoid. If you're willing to buy online, Warby Parker is a good alternative. They gained success selling considerably cheaper frames and for their outright opposition of EssilorLuxottica. But if you need to go in person, the only places that don't sell almost exclusively Luxottica products are Costco and Walmart. I know, giving your money to a different megacorporation seems counterintuitive, but the only way to beat a monopoly is through competition. So any competition is good competition, meaning any enemy of EssilorLuxottica is a friend of ours. Today, we've addressed the causes, effects, and solutions to the monopolistic practices of EssilorLuxottica. While not technically a monopoly, the company regularly engages in monopolistic practices using its vast retail locations that encourage anti-competitive behavior. However, now that we have finally drawn the curtain on EssilorLuxottica's shady practices, hopefully we will finally see the fall of this mighty giant.